Okay, thank you for having us. So we're going to start with introductions. My name is Mariam Iqbal, and I am the volunteer coordinator for March of Dimes Canada. And my role is to support volunteers, help people who have aphasia and related acquired communication disabilities. And Liz, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth, or you can call me Liz. I'm a speech language pathologist and the clinical coordinator of the Aphasia and Communication Disabilities program. It really is my passion working with people with aphasia and supporting them along their journey to recovery. Most of our clients have had strokes, and I'm so glad to be here today to share a little bit about that with you. And I'm a cat person.
That's important. That's important.
So important. Cat people. Dogs are okay too, but let's carry on.
Okay, so we are going to start by mentioning a little bit about our history. So March of Dimes is a national organization. We have been in place since 1951. March of Dimes was originally established to help eradicate the threat of polio. So just like COVID right now, polio was a really big thing in 1951, and there were volunteers who wanted to help eradicate the threat to people. Polio vaccine was discovered in 1955, and after that, March of Dimes, although it continued to provide support to polio survivors, it shifted its focus to providing help to anyone with a physical or other disability. Today, we have about 75,000 clients who we empower to lead independent lives and who we empower to connect with their communities. So our mission is to maximize the independence, personal empowerment, and community participation of people with disabilities, and we're going to tie it to our program a little bit later. And our vision is to create a society inclusive of people with disabilities. So who are the people we serve? Just some stats here. So 1 in 5 Canadians, or approximately 6.2 million, aged 15 years and over, have one or more disabilities that limit their daily activities and full participation in society. So just to break that number down, there are approximately 540,000 youth aged 15 to 24 years living with a disability. 3.7 million working adults aged 25 to 64 years have a disability. 2 million seniors aged 65 and over have a disability. And among these numbers, women are likely to have a disability a little bit more than men. So 24% of women and 20% of men across all age groups. So how do we help them? At March of Dimes, we have 3 major areas of focus. We have community support services that are funded by the Ministries of Health. We provide essential services helping consumers with daily living and socialization. So that support can be as part of the group program or in the client's homes. We have community programs in after stroke. That is a big department of ours. And in that department, we provide in-community programs to help improve function and build human connection. And that is where our aphasia and communication disability services fall under. And Liz is going to talk a little bit more about this department. And we have employment services where we help people with disabilities find good jobs. We also help advocate for those people by helping employers understand the value of inclusive employment. Our organization offers a broad range of programs and services to a diverse population of children, adults, seniors, and caregivers across Canada. We don't have time to go over each and every program and services, but I would encourage you to go over our website. Here's the address, and check out some of the things that we are doing for people with disabilities nationally. This is our volunteer philosophy. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And every day in our programs, we bring this philosophy to life, where we have participation from volunteers and students, clients and caregivers, and professionals to help build a better environment and a better community. So our volunteers are really valuable to us because they bring an enormous amount of value to our organization. Our volunteers help staff to deliver the best possible programming to our clients. They positively impact the lives of our clients through their service, and we have administrative and technological volunteers that provide support to ensure that we can operate efficiently and effectively. And now over to Liz to speak a little bit more about aphasia and what we do to support people who have aphasia and acquired communication disabilities.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Okay, so I just wish I could see all of you. So I want to thank you all for being here. But at this point, when I talk about aphasia, I usually say, you know, put your hand up, no pressure, but if you know what aphasia is, put your hand up and tell me if you've had experience with this. Most people don't. In fact, I didn't know what aphasia was until my grandmother had a stroke about 14 years ago. Approximately 100,000 people in Canada have aphasia, and that's a conservative estimate. So there are a lot of people who have aphasia and have difficulty communicating, and they need advocacy and accessibility. So that's what we do. We help promote advocacy, accessibility, and strategies to support this population. So what is aphasia? Well, it's difficulty in speaking, understanding of language, reading, and writing. An important thing about aphasia is that people who have aphasia know more than they can say. They have a lifetime of experience. They have all the knowledge in their head, but they can't get it out. And so oftentimes after having a stroke and living with aphasia, it's really, really challenging to represent yourself because the communication is so broadly affected. But we're here to advocate for this population and support them. And such a large part of what our volunteers do is what brings our client along their path to recovery from stroke and living well with aphasia. Next slide, please. Okay. So our program offers services and mutual aid groups for people living with aphasia and other communication disabilities caused by stroke, brain injury, or brain illness. So most of our clients do have a stroke. Some of them come to us, you know, after having had a fall and a traumatic brain injury, usually to the left side of the brain. That's where our language zone is, or brain illness. So there's a population of people who live with something called primary progressive aphasia, which is a type of dementia. But in the beginning, it manifests in the language. That's the major barrier. And so these clients really benefit well by being part of our groups and learning our strategies and being part of our community. Other brain illness, we support people who've had tumors, usually on the left side of the brain, and it's really affecting their ability to communicate and get their message across. Our program is designed to help clients more fully participate in community life. As an SLP, we follow the life participation approach to aphasia. If you can Google it, that would be great. It's really a wonderful model of service delivery, and it really looks at the whole person comprehensively in many domains that affect a person's life. We encourage and support involvement of local citizens and professionals. So, you know, we're embedded within a community and we like to support one another and practice system navigation. We work with universities and many professionals in the community to support our population. We support and involve caregivers. That's very important. Part of the life participation approach to aphasia, it tells us that everyone affected by aphasia is entitled to treatment. So not only the individual, the caregiver as well in the family circle. So we really work hard on educating and providing support and resources to caregivers as well. Very important. And our volunteers can do that too. In the program, we would always have our volunteers interact with caregivers. So really a lovely, well-rounded experience to getting an idea of what it's like to living life after stroke and being a caregiver to someone living life after stroke. So if you're looking for experience, our program really does kind of offer that, and it really does it all. Promote aphasia awareness. Very, very important. Like I said, most people don't know what aphasia is, unfortunately, until it happens to them or someone they love. And so whenever I meet someone, even in the work environment or outside the work environment, I like to tell people about aphasia and advocate for this population. We advocate for communicative access, education, and research, and we work really hard to give a voice to clients in the global aphasia community. Next slide. We have a lot of locations. So we have 6 program locations, physical spaces that before COVID we used to offer in-person programming, and they were all really wonderful communities of people with aphasia. So a location in Maple, another one in Newmarket, Peterborough, which is pretty local to a lot of you guys. So we want to see a lot of you guys at our Peterborough location, hopefully when we open up. Vaughan, Stouffville, and Whitby. And now that we have virtual program placements, there are a lot more opportunities for anyone who's really interested in learning more about communication disorders and learning from speech language pathologists and communicative disorder assistants and meeting people who live with aphasia and live well with aphasia. Next slide. Okay. Volunteers support individuals with aphasia and related communication disabilities in many, many important ways. So our volunteers, through training and support from our staff, learn effective in-person and virtual communication strategies. They develop and use augmentative communication aids. We do high-tech and low-tech devices. We use creative methods of communication to help clients get their message out. We learn about aphasia and related communication disabilities. So lots of education happening informally on our floors and in our virtual platforms. And most important, we provide our clients with opportunities to have meaningful conversations. Okay, some volunteer roles that we have. We have the communication program volunteer. So this is an on-site role, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about it in a few slides down. But we're not offering on-site right now. Right now, everything is virtual, and it looks like it'll be that way for the next couple of months, at least. Okay, we have the communication program volunteer virtual, Aphasia Connected volunteer, Aphasia Connect volunteer. This is a peer support group. It's also virtual, and it's a new group that we've developed since April in response to COVID. And we are seeing people nationally across Canada with aphasia. So people looking for resources, looking to connect, but a lot of aphasia centers have shut down or programs have not opened up yet. And so there's a lot of people looking to have conversation in a supported environment. And so that's what we're offering now. We have Friendly Check-in Volunteer, another new program that we're really excited about. So we'll talk more about that in a little bit. There's also a camp assistant position when we do aphasia camp. I know that this year was canceled, but I've gone to several aphasia camps over the years, and they are just a thrilling experience. And I really do enjoy working with the volunteers at aphasia camp. We also have placement students. So we have our own aphasia and communication disabilities program placement students. We have CDA placement students and SLP placement students. And yeah, let's move on to the next slide. We can talk more about that.
Just to let you guys know, we have about 5 more minutes of the presentation, and then we do have a question, but I think you've already answered it, but we'll get to that in a little bit, okay?
Okay, I think I will I'm not going to read through these slides. I already spoke about it a little bit. So we have the on-site volunteer position, but that's pretty much put on hold right now. Miriam, can you go to the next slide?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so this is the virtual position that we're really excited about. And any questions you have, you can contact Miriam. But essentially, the virtual program volunteer joins us, the SLP and CDA, as long as our group of clients in having a conversation. And so we have programs where our virtual volunteers will help with using strategies like keywording, lots of different drawing for communication, pacing, to help facilitate conversation so people with aphasia can get their message across. And it's a very supported environment, so our volunteers will get a lot of training and guidance from us. And they can participate as much or as little as they feel comfortable in the beginning, and we really support them through the process. And through the process, they get to meet and get to know these wonderful people who are living with aphasia and are really inspirational. Okay, next slide. Again, this is similar. It's the Aphasia Connect volunteer. It's not associated with an ACDP, an Aphasia and Communication Disabilities program. So there's not as much contact with the speech language pathologist.